Hey guys, this is JJ from Idle Threat, and you're listening to the Vulgar Display of Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the Vulgar Display of Podcast live from the Barn Studios. You got the Mox here with Anthony. Anthony, how are you today, man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing really well. We have a special guest joining us right now. We have JJ from the band Idle Threat. JJ, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys?
Doing really well. Calling from Music City, I believe. How's Nashville?
Man, Nashville is exploding, dude. There's so many people here. It's just super, super busy all the time. So I don't know, man. Like it's just that hustle and bustle like every day here. It's kind of getting me down. It's been raining the last couple days. I don't know. Like I need some sunshine. I need to like enjoy the summer.
Yeah, and I feel like you guys are getting ready to do that. You guys are getting ready to head out on tour, and you're coming our way. We are hosting you guys for the Schools Out Forever tour featuring Idle Threat, American Arson, Weathered, and then we have a local playing our show here at Rust Belt at Park Hills Underground in Park Hills, Missouri, Saturday, July 1st. We can't wait to have you in town, man.
Man, I can't wait to get out to you guys. And like we haven't been on tour in a while, so I'm really excited to get out and play the shows. We're playing a bunch of places that we haven't been to in a while. So it's gonna be a good time. So
yeah, man, we're very excited. We actually saw you open up for Norma Jean last year. Man, you guys blew us away.
Oh, man, I hate that I'm forgetting. What was the name of the venue that we played? I'm assuming you're talking about St. Louis.
Yeah, it was Red Flag.
That's right, Red Flag. Dude, that place ruled. That was such a fun show. That was the last night of tour that we had with them. It was so much fun.
Yeah, and as impressive as I thought Norma Jean sounded that night, it was equally impressed with you guys. It was my first time hearing and seeing you guys. And I think me and my whole crew that were there, all my buddies are like, man, that Idle Threat band ain't no joke.
That is way too high a praise for us, but thank you.
and I do want to shout out Michael Haley Photography. He's a friend of ours and works with us through a lot of the stuff that we do. He actually photographed you guys that night, and I know you've shared some of his stuff too.
Yeah, totally.
He'll be there Saturday, July 1st as well. What was that Norma Jean tour like? You guys were out for a good while. How was that tour for you?
Man, it was an absolute dream come true. Like, I've been listening to Norma Jean since I was in like 5th grade, so it was just, when we got the call from that booking agent, we were just like, yeah, we're absolutely going to make this happen, and we quickly hit it off with those guys like out on the road, and all those shows were crazy, especially the ones that like picked up with the labeled fest dates. So like we also played some shows with Emery and Aaron Gillespie and with Tashiwa as well. But it just, man, it was nuts. Like some of the days were just like, smaller rooms, but just like a ridiculous amount of people like crammed in there. It was just like, cranking the tunes and playing to a lot of people. And, I love sitting back and like reminiscing on those shows, especially the ones that like, we had never played in, like Lincoln, Nebraska, we had never been out there before. And then, we get out there and play a nice sweaty show to a bunch of kids. And it was sick. I could go on for hours, give specific details, but it absolutely was a dream come true to be out on the road with them. I hope we can do it again sometime. But
from what I've seen, they're still supporting you guys. And, I think Corey released or he put out some video or on his Instagram or his Norma Jeans, and he's clearly wearing one of your shirts on that. And I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, he's such a good man. Like every once in a while he'll like, shoot me a text and be like, "Hey dude, like how are things going? Like what's the band up to?" And I don't know, like I look forward to every time I see that band, but now that, we're, friends, it's really cool to like go see them, like catch up and, do all the shenanigans.
I've seen Norma Jean several times, and I would say that at St. Louis, specifically on this last run and that last album, one of my favorite albums of theirs, and probably one of the best times I've seen them.
Man, they are a band that is aging like a fine wine. Like, and obviously, like, I've seen them like probably like 50, 60 times now, but like that band is just out with a vengeance. And, it feels really, really good to have like a band like that kind of like believe in you too. So it's like, if we're going to have anybody kind of like big brother our bands, like I'm really glad it's Norma Jean, because those dudes know what they're doing. And then also they kick ass. So, I don't know, like it's cool to have them in our corner, and they're still, they're 20 years into it and still like really bringing the heat. So if you haven't seen them before, anybody listening, I'm not sure why you haven't, but you got to go see a show. Those guys rip.
100%.
Yeah, we co-sign off on that. Go get that album. Go see Norma Jean. We're just talking a lot about Norma Jean now. This is the Norma Jean podcast.
The Appreciation Podcast.
With Idle Threat, though, you guys have some shows coming up, and it seems like it's going to be busy. I know you're playing. So you played Furnace Fest last year, right?
Yes,
and
we did.
You're doing like a pre-Furnace Fest show this year?
So, yes, we're playing the pre-show this year. There should be a little tour attached to that as well. We're still working out the ins and outs of that, but we're getting that all together. So excited to be back. Last year was a lot of fun. One of my favorite shows we've ever played. It was just really cool getting to run around, see all, a lot of our favorite bands, get to meet a bunch of people. It's just a great time. Probably one of my favorite fests I've ever been to too. So just glad to be back. I'm hoping that show is super packed too. So we'll see, Are you guys going to go?
Man, I've thought about it. Those lineups, these past couple years, those lineups have been absolutely stacked, especially last year.
I probably won't be going because I'm actually going to Lather Than Life in Louisville.
Oh,
in
sick!
September.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that looks like a killer lineup.
Shout out to the Furnace dudes. They really are doing something special. That community is really cool. And then the lineups are awesome. So,
and maybe if the Furnace Fest needs a podcast on site, maybe we could. And if they're listening, maybe we could hook that up, fellas.
Right.
But you're playing one of those pre-shows with Symphony and Pearl with members of Zao and Narcissist. How's
yeah? This promoter in particular is just like, hey, like, do y'all want to play this like pre-show? And we pretty much just like took it. And then like our friends from Meadows over on Face Down Records, their vocalist Christian called me and was like, hey, I heard y'all are playing this show. I'm like, dude, are y'all playing this show? It's like kind of like that Spider-Man meme where we're all like pointing at each other. And we're like, all just, dude, like, yeah, like, let's do this. Who else is on it? And he was like, yeah, apparently like, somebody from like Zao and like all this stuff. So like, I kind of was under the impression that like Zao was playing, but then they were like, dude, it's Symphony and Peril. And then like, I ended up like talking to one of the guys and our friends in Birmingham, in the band Stay Lost, they're playing. So that's going to be cool. But I don't know, like that, like there's so much going on during Furnace Fest. I really hope that people still make it down to the pre-show as well. It's going to be really cool getting in that area and then, playing shows with bands that have people that are in like, like legacy status, like playing in these like big bands that like we all grew up listening to and stuff.
How would you describe your sound to people that haven't heard you? Because you do play a lot of shows with, I think, some heavier bands, but I wouldn't necessarily call you guys a super heavy band. I know you have some, hardcore elements in your music, but how would you describe your sound to somebody who hasn't heard you guys yet?
So a lot of times I just say like, oh, we're just like a dumb rock band. But we're like, I guess if we're breaking down into subgenres and stuff, like we try to market ourselves as like a post-hardcore band, but we pretty much just like to say rock. So like it just keeps it kind of like vague, because we do have that ambiguous sound of like, we have some like really low, like soft, pretty parts. And then there's other parts where, we try to like play breakdowns and stuff like that. And like, we just try to keep it tasteful. So like, we've been compared to like everybody on a spectrum from like, oh man, you guys sound like Under Oath, to like, y'all sound like Title Fight. You guys kind of sound like Counterparts. Y'all sound like, like we've gotten Anne Berlin before. It's just all over the place. And honestly, I kind of love it. But yeah, it's just that ambiguous post-hardcore sound where, we're going to play some soft stuff and sing, and, we're also going to play some heavy stuff and yell at you. So you just kind of have to pick your poison when you listen to us.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw in one more other band, and that's Converge. There's one of the tracks off of Blurred Visions, Arrogant Love. Love that track. I think after I saw you guys, I think that was on repeat for probably 2 or 3 straight weeks for me. But that song, the way the screaming is over those mellow parts that you were talking about, and then it just blends into one of the catchiest endings of a song I've ever heard. I think your description is spot on.
Dude, that's so crazy, because literally the second you said that, I just thought that we were getting together like a little set list for this coming tour, and it got to a point where I was like, we've played everything off of our LP except for Arrogant Love. And I was like, can we please play that instead of, we have a song called Beige, and another song called Simon that they're on the softer side. And I was like begging the guys, I was like, can we please do Arrogant Love instead of Beige or Simon on this tour? And they were like, no, we're going to play Beige. So like, I was pretty upset, but Arrogant Love is the only song that we haven't played live off of our LP. So I hope we change that soon.
I hope you change it soon too. 'Cause I would love to see that live.
Hey, maybe we get our shit together before we come play Park Hills. So
yeah, let's do that. Just a special Vulgar set, and adding Arrogant Love to it.
And I'm a sucker for the catchy, so some of my favorites, obviously, No Turning Back, The Gold Grows Dim, Driftwood. Specifically with Driftwood and your drums, there is, maybe an effect or how you guys recorded it where the drums almost sound like in an empty hallway, especially early on, and then maybe like pre-chorus or something. What was was that a studio trickery kind of thing, or can you tell us about the recording of drums on Driftwood?
So I know that was like a production, like kind of tool that our producer was using, because we did kind of screw around with some of that. But this was like the first time that we had been in a studio setting where we kind of did get to play around with things like that. So Driftwood in particular, I don't think we recorded that any differently. That song is actually probably the least doctored that we had when we took it into the studio to track. But I know that like we did kind of play around with like, moving mics, and like I think we might have used a different snare drum on that song. But yeah, like I don't know, we kind of got crafty throughout the record. Like at one point I was using like a marching like bass drum, and like we played around with different like snare tones and heads and stuff like that. But yeah, that absolutely was a production trick. So I don't know anything about that.
I just played the drums, right?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I say that all the time. I'm like, look, I just like hit stuff. Like, don't ask me to like annotate anything or like break anything down. Like, I know what my gear is, and I can like kind of like get through the conversations and stuff. But like when it comes to like all the production stuff, or like especially guitar gear and all that, I'm so lost. I just, I stick to just saying like, dude, I just hit stuff. I don't really know what's going on.
If you're listening to this and you have not heard Blurred Visions, the album by Idle Threat, out on Tooth and Nail, available everywhere, right? What's the future plans? Are you guys looking at recording anytime soon, getting back in the studio?
So we're actually supposed to start, I don't know how much I could say. We've been writing our second record. We should start recording sometime this summer. So I'm excited to get back at it and, write another record and roll that out and kind of see where it takes us. So hopefully a new batch of songs is coming soon.
We'll be looking forward to that. We're definitely looking forward to Saturday, July 1st, the School's Out Forever tour, Idle Threat, American Arson, another amazing band, Weathered, and local here, Rust Belt, Park Hills, Missouri. And this is JJ from Idle Threat. JJ, we appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man, thanks.
Yeah, this is fun.
We'll see you when you get into town, okay?
All right, man. Y'all take it easy.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
See ya.
Might lose it all.